Warning, this show contains adult language, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hey, welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff. If you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's about improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw. Today is episode 173, and I wanted to talk about inflation as a part of the coming recession. And I didn't put on here the coming the reset. And I think this is something that we all need to heed. That's what we're already experiencing here. I know we have lots of listeners from all around the globe, but we have here in the United States right now and in San Diego, California, we've got inflation happening. Lumber that used to cost $8, for a 4x8 foot plywood sheet is now going for like $26. It's almost triple the amount. Some of it's, I think it's triple the amount. Some of it's at least doubled, if not more. That's part. And food's going up, gas is going up. There's a lot of printing of money, and I think this may possibly be going on around the whole entire world. But there's an interesting twist to this inflation stuff here. I like to follow the tycoons, the real estate investors. I like to listen to everybody. And one of the things I've been understanding, and I think that this is part for us for recession survival and part of this coming reset and just life in general, even if there wasn't any bad stuff coming, And when I say coming to, I just want to clear up. I have no idea if we're really going to hit a full-blown recession, but the writing looks like it's pretty much on the wall. I'd be surprised if we didn't. But getting back to it, I think whether times were good or bad, we need to understand how investors use their money, how they get wealthy, how they stay wealthy. And I think that I'm still learning this stuff myself. I'm nowhere near an economist or professional at any of these things, other than I like to dive in and take a good look and try to understand these things to my fullest capacity. Unfortunately, the best of the best, the cream of the cream, I've seen some interviews and listened to some dialogue going on, and it was asked of them, of these professionals, like, how did you get so good about understanding about inflation and things like that? And they says, I've been at it for like 10, 15 years. They did some name droppings of some people that they studied under, and there's keywords here. It's a language all of its own. I've heard that saying a bunch of times. For those of you looking to get help, my brothers and sisters, especially those with special needs families, I'm a special needs family. I've got a special needs daughter, and we are told to rely on Social Security and IHPs. I can't even remember. That's how much I don't give a fuck. Basically, it was said at that time to tell you guys, I went in, it was a meditation class, but they wanted to talk about Social Security and stuff like that, how to deal with it. But they wanted you to deal with meditation because it's, as the word says, it comes from the horse's mouth. This will be one of the most troubling and most frustrating things that you'll have to deal with in your entire life by having a special needs kid. But you'll have to rely on the government for money so that you can survive. I've chosen to take another path so that I just make my own money. But basically, you have to keep fighting and fighting and fighting for your rights. And in fact, it came down to a woman I met who said that her husband wants to move out of state and out of California here. And the woman says, I would rather just stay here because I don't want to deal with the government, the paperwork and everything, the hoops they made me have to jump through to have to get my special needs kid back enrolled and get this thing coming. So that's how difficult it is. Everyday life, we've all got problems, but we need to understand that a lot of these things, the language of money is its own language. So, as I said, I'm not a professional, but I kind of want you guys to kind of put this dress on for a day and kind of listen to what I have to say here about inflation. I think it's the real enemy and the real scary fucking thing that's happening here right before our eyes. But it's like hypertension, as they say. It's a silent killer. This thing is a silent leech of your goods. So let's start off with, let's say you had $100,000 and you wanted to retire. I think we said this one on a few shows back. You saved up $100,000. We're just making even numbers here. And in 10 years from now, judging by the inflation. So for those of you who don't understand what inflation is, that's money. All right. That's when, just like we said, when you were younger, do you remember buying a stick of bubble gum for 50 cents? Now it's $1, right? So the dollar it doesn't buy you as much. It doesn't have much buying power anymore. They keep printing money. So inflation means that it goes up. It costs more for things. So what's happening with people who retire and say they have $100,000, that $100,000, maybe a year from now, 2021, it may end up to where that $100,000 is now only worth $80,000. The trick is that you still see $100,000 in your bank, but to go buy groceries. We talked about this on getting your finances together, on how to organize your life, run your life like a business. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to expense track. We wanted to find out what your expenditures are, where you're spending all your money. And if you guys remember, we had stuff that's coming in and stuff that's going out, right? We had fixed expenses, which were like your mortgage, your rent. You know they're always going to be the same. Then we have ghost expenses. We have variable before we jump on. We have variable expenses that go up and down. So your gas for your car, your food, these things can't be really measured, right? So this is a ghost. Ghost expenses are things that you can't foresee, like say you got cancer or your tire blew out or something that happened. These are things that are, your roof's wearing out. You can't really see these things, but you got to save up for them. So I forgot where we're going here, is that these basically inflation for a lot of people, I guess is where we're going on track here, is that they're not paying attention. They still think that they have $100,000. But now that you have to take that $100,000 to live on, it may start reducing its value. That dollar is not going to get you as far. I also know this scares the shit out of me because of a lot of, I've surrounded myself by the wealthy, and that's who I service. And that's how I make some really good coin, really good money. But I've met a lot of people, not a lot, but enough to be concerned that I asked them any advice you can give someone like me on retirement. They said, save money. Whatever we thought we saved, we never saved enough. You know, and even the dying, the people who are dying, the regrets. You know, I wish I could have been happy. Happiness was a choice, you know. I wish I would have lived life more for me and not for others and cared what people thought, you know. One of the top of the 15 regrets of the dying was I wish I'd have saved more money for retirement. But that's not the case of what these rich people are kind of talking amongst themselves, right? That's another key. Robert Kiyosaki, you guys, none of these people know I exist if I ever name drop, by the way. I'm not sponsored. I pay to do this show. But Robert Kiyosaki said a very interesting thing that he just touched on and then left it alone. He says, we trade from the inside. That means the rich. He says, if you're going to come and you think you're going to harpoon the giant kahuna, the big old whale, it ain't going to happen. We all talk. We have a group. We have a thing going on, right? We all trade from the inside. You guys trade from the outside. And that's kind of the way we envision this, right? We're the poor, the rich, you know, we're getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. And there's us middle people who are just striving along, trying to keep our legs, you know, keep afloat of water, and we're just barely making it. But we don't understand these things about inflation. So what we're looking at here is the answers. That's what we want, right? Cut the shit out of your mouth. Sorry if I made that too long for you guys, but I think we need to explain it in its entirety and to the best knowledge that I can for you guys. So the antidote of what rich people do is, it's another saying too, I think it was Robert Kiyosaki, that money is only just a veil. It's a curtain that from this side of the stage, which is a perfect analogy, watching the shit show, we see money. Money is the curtain. We can't see what's going on behind the curtain. So we're all after money. A lot of these people that you meet, and I implore you guys, I ask you to go around old people that you know and ask them if saving money was the best bet, if they saved enough money or what they're doing. Ask them for advice. And what you might find is that they're nervous. And we don't want to hear. I've coined this as the alternative lifestyle design. In the alternative lifestyle design, so there's regular life and then there's the alternative. What are the alternatives? So that's why I've coined it that. We don't want to live a life of stress. We don't want to be looking over our shoulders and worrying about things. We want to get things in place so we can actually relax and have a good life. So what you're going to see is some of these people, maybe a lot more than what you think, are very nervous and very cautious. A lot of us business people noticing when you see old people, at the grocery store, or when you're trying to sell them like a repair job or something, they're like, $100 to fix this. Jesus, when I was your age, it cost me a nickel, And it did. It cost you a nickel, but now it's going to cost you $1. But I feel so bad for these people because they work so hard to save their money. But they're very frugal, and that's what we can learn from them if we want to survive the possible coming recession and the Great Reset. But you see them, that irritating grandma pulling out her little nickels and dimes to get the exact money It's because they have to. They know what it's like to not be able to make money. And I want you guys to understand that, you young people, my age, I consider, even, people who are older and there's later, their 70s or something, you got to give a certain respect that, look, they're not able to make any more money. A lot of them, right? They're retired or they're too old. They've given 40, 50 years of their life to a business, either a business or for working for a 401k or something like that, for retirement. This is all they got. So of course they're scared shitless. But we want to figure out how we can not do this anymore. So what we want to do is we want to mimic what the rich are doing. We want to invest into assets. So as I understand it, again, I know I'm missing stuff, and if anybody's got comments, you can set me straight and tell me how it really is. If I'm missing things out here and wrong, please do. I'd love to understand and give me as much detail as you can. But the rich invest into assets. So one of the things, it's just this is a thought a free thinking thought in my head is maybe this is what the rich do. Nobody's ever told me this, but so put it this way, the rich own things. They don't own money. They want to get rid of money because money's not an asset. It's a liability, right? For those of you who don't know what a liability, it's something that can go wrong. It's something that's not creating value, whereas an asset is a great thing, like something you invest in. I don't know, a diamond, a piece of gold, a house, whatever. It's going to do something for you. A business is the way I look at it, is an asset. So we want to invest in things, in assets like this, especially right now, because what the economists are saying is that the inflation rate could go so high, very high. We've been very low for a very long time. And what's going to happen is that if you want to go and buy something, a house or something like that, it's going to become much more difficult for us. Right now in California, I'm understanding this thing here. They're building things like homes everywhere, like mad. And as I told you, the prices of lumber have gone up. It's so bad right now. A few friends of mine who are in the major construction industry, like home builders, said they can't even give anybody an estimate longer than 30 days because of the fluctuation of prices, how it keeps going up and up and up. But you would ask yourself, if there's going to be a recession and all this coming shit that we're being scared into and told, and not to say it might not happen, it could not. But if there was things so dangerous, then why would people be building homes like this, especially at this higher rate? Because they're probably betting on inflation, right? So let's look at the assets again, as we were saying, and investing your money. And I want you guys to think, when I'm telling you this, think in terms of not just real estate. I'm just giving you guys an example here. So we have a house being built. We're going to stay even numbers, $100,000. Yes, Adrian, but there's going to be inflation. That house is not going to be the money it takes for that house, right? To buy it, to build it. But as the inflation goes up in a few years from now, it's like the bank paying the contractor money. They're making free money. Do you understand that? Let me see if I can get that out correctly. So it costs $100,000 to build a house. You saved $100,000, but now that house that they built for, let's see if we can say this clearly. Let's say the house costs $50,000 to build, right? But they're selling it for $100,000. You want to go build another house. Well, it's going to cost you probably about $70,000 to build that house. So now that house is actually worth $120,000. It's not worth $100,000. The value just keeps going up. Do you see how that is? How the bar starts rising on both ends. You got to watch that level. So if I explained that correctly, this is the puzzles that I'm trying to figure out. Now, I'm not going to go buy a house. I'm not going to go build a house. I can't afford that shit right now. I've got money. I'm a thousandaire, not a millionaire. So what I look at is, if you're going to be prepared for inflation, I think that there's a lot of things that we're going to have to do. I wanted you guys to understand that, the assets and liabilities, for as far as I know it. But what do we need to do? A lot of you guys are probably sending me, or you guys have sent me questions, but I'm sure we're going to get a heck of a lot more here of like, well, what do I do then? How do I combat this? Well, the first thing you do is do not just save money. Money is going to be your enemy. You need to invest as much of it as possible, and you need to do things now. So I guess we're going to appeal towards people who are like me, who have money in the bank, not millions of dollars, but, a couple $1,000s. And the way I see it is, food prices are going to go up. gas is going to go up, the utilities and everything's going to go up, and the problem is the price of the money. If they raise the bar on minimum wage, inflation goes up. You're still in the same spot. You're making, say you were making $10 an hour, but now they're paying you 15. Well, inflation went up by 30%. I don't know, that's a big number, but now you're still paying the same. They got you. It's a perfect thing. But for those of you who do have money and you're kind of being prepared, like I am, prepping for things like this, I think that you want to invest in such things as like food processors and things like that. I just bought a steamer, air fryer, and one. I want to make sure that I stay healthy, and through all this stress and everything, that means I need to have a really good diet. The problem is, though, is I got to work my ass off. I got to hustle even harder. So that what becomes is that, well, you know what? I just don't have the time to eat healthy. It takes too long to cook and all those things. So we want to employ such things as automation. Again, anybody who's followed me, I've always said, I like to watch the monster. I like to watch the enemy, see how it moves. What is it doing? What's happening right now with us individuals is that automation's taking over a lot of jobs. How can we mimic this in our own lives, in our homes, run our lives like a business if we're making, again, for people who are making money, for people who are not making money, I've got a few things in there. I'm not sure. There's really no investing for you, really. There's just saving money. But for those of you middle class, I guess, upper class, middle class, to lower class, if you've got the money, you want to start investing in these things now before they go up. There's thermal cookers. I've talked a lot about on these past shows, so you guys should probably go back and listen to those, but like useful things that I use to save money and time and health. Thermal cookwares and blenders and things like that you can quickly make food. So you're saving money, you're eating healthy, and you're saving time. And I think that the health and the money is really awesome to save. But the thing that we all need to do is figure out our time, right? And what and to get that perspective to figure out what the hell's going on around us. Are we going to be able to keep up this mortgage that we have? Are we going to be able to keep up this job? Are we going to have a job? Or is our businesses going to suffer from inflation? What am I going to do? You don't need to be fussing over a dinner every night for an hour. And let me put this in perspective. I said before, is when you do a time audit on yourself, you need to look at your health, your spirituality, your time. I said, like I had a dog, for instance, right? And I kind of want to bring this into just when you come home and the things you've got to do. That's why we like to live essential and live tiny. When you come home, for me, I'll take my dog example. I'd have to walk my dog in the morning so she goes poop and pee. And I do that for about 30 minutes. And at the end of the day, when I got home from work, I'd walk her for another 30 minutes, pet her, let her poop and pee out, get her smells and everything, because it's healthy for her and she needs to get out. Well, that animal was taking an hour of my day. That's just walking. We're not even talking about grooming, feeding, and making sure she's healthy and everything like that, right? So you put in this time of I like this one, the walking the dog, because it took me an hour of my day. Now let's just say that I was going to cook a healthy meal, some steamed vegetables and, a salad with like maybe some grilled meat or something on there. That's easily an hour of my day, right? So if we add these two, walking your dog and making a healthy dinner, 2 hours of your day, multiply that times 5 days a week. Even though you're going to do this 7 days a week, let's just multiply it times 5. 5 times 2, is what? 10 hours. That's a full 10-hour day of just making dinner and walking your pet. A full 10-hour day. Most of you guys don't even work 10 hours, right? But can you imagine your entire Friday, more than where you spend at work, is devoted to just these two things? That's why we need to start incorporating automation and utilizing it against the coming reset and the possible coming recession, so that we have time to stay healthy. Now there's no excuse. I can eat healthy food. It only takes me, these one-pot meals, for you guys who don't know, yes, it does take electricity, but you can literally throw a bunch of frozen vegetables together, carrots, potatoes, broccoli, zucchini, meatballs, and whatever, rice even, I think. You can make a goulash and just freeze it inside of a Ziploc bag, make it kind of a cylindrical kind of shape. Stick this in the freezer, let it go. So when you come home from work, all you gotta do is pick up that whole cold thing, stick it in your pressure cooker, close the lid, hit your timer, and walk away. That's all you had. You just made dinner. You made something healthy within probably under a minute. Open up the top. Let's say you want some crispy, like I prefer some variety. Get your air fryer and air fry your vegetables to make grilled veggies, you know, so they're kind of charred on top and toasty and they taste good. Mix things up like that, and there's all kinds of other things you can do. But again, when you put something in the air fryer, you can push play and walk away, right? Actually been considering making some live YouTube videos, but I just ain't got the time for you guys, like recipes and stuff like that. So I'm not just talking about food again here. I need you guys to understand this philosophy. I just given you guys a whole bunch to think about here. I'm sorry about that, but it's just I'm so passionate about this, and I'm very scared as fuck about people's lives. So I want you guys to look at everything I've said right now, and I need you guys to try to apply this to your life. Let me make sure I'm not missing any important notes here that I got on my phone here. I wanted to talk to you guys about food, housing, fuel, utilities, investing, assets versus liabilities, it's its own language, and diversifications. I didn't help out the poor yet, I guess, the very, very poor who are going down and out soon. You guys understand about assets and liabilities. For those of you to finish up who do have the money to invest in these things now is what I'm saying. Invest in a really good bike if you live in town, right? I just want to throw some examples so you guys understand the philosophy. Invest in a really good fucking bike. Buy used if you can. You know, there's going to be a lot of people hurting, and I don't mean to take advantage of anybody, but they need the money. They need to get rid of shit fast. I would love for you guys to have a bike and a really good backpack, or maybe a pull behind little wagon that you can take to the grocery store if you live close enough. You know, if not, if you guys are investing in things, I want you guys, like I said, cookware. I want you guys to invest in your health. Start getting an exercise regimen going on. For instance, for me, I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. I go to bed around 9, 10 o'clock, you know. I want to make sure I get at least 7 hours of sleep. If I'm able to get a nap in, you know, be rested, and try to invest in your sleep. But like a bike, in tools, how to fix things if you're handy. Get yourself some stuff now, because if the rise of inflation goes up, it's going to cost you that much more money. I just said diversification. I would love to see people get all kinds of different tools and things that they can use. And you buy good stuff, you'll have this for the rest of your life. And painting is not that hard. Even if you're an office worker, learn how to paint. If you're very passionate about taking care of your family, you will start picking things up. We have YouTube, we have we have books, you know, and libraries and stuff to teach you. There's places where you can get free paint at dump locations where people have a bunch of paint, they throw it away, or they mix it all together instead of dumping it down in the landfill. And you can literally, in some places, get free paint so you can practice yourself on a little piece of wood and get good at it, you know, and research, understand. So I don't have a lot of time here. It looks like we're taking up, we're almost on 30 minutes. So for the poor, as I said, I think that you guys need to understand, and even the middle class, is start living essential as far as in your food, ways to save money due to inflation. The cost of food's going to go up. So a lot of people say eat beans and rice. You know what? Take some rice, right? Cook some rice, mix it with some hamburger, things like that, with some proteins. Don't just eat rice. That's a lot of carbohydrates. That's not good for you, in my opinion, anyways. But start learning how to cook, basically. Food is our big ones. Let's identify what's going to happen here. The very first one, at least for me, is my housing. That's what costs me the most. Actually, my housing and food are almost the same. I spend about $950 a month to let you guys. Some people may think that's expensive. That's because it's here in Sunnyside, California. But normally, your very first one is going to be housing, your rent or your mortgage. The second one is your food, especially if you're going to start eating healthy. Doesn't have to be that way. As we said, you can start utilizing different things. The third one is your gas, right? Your vehicle. So if you're poor and you want to combat this stuff, you need to get out of you guys need to simplify your lives. I live in a tiny little 30-foot travel trailer, guys. That's how I'm free to move around, and my overhead is so low, I'm minimally affected by all these things still into 2021. May come, I'll eat my own shit, I think. And you know what? That's kind of what I want to say. I want to just be blunt and fucking real here. Look, the shit that's coming, or that could possibly come, we need to prepare for them. Whether they come or not, we should start preparing today, not tomorrow. And you know what? It's called the eat shit factor. My life's not all fucking beautiful, you guys. I'm driving an old 1996 F-350 pickup truck. It's paid for, though. I own it. I live in a small little trailer. I live in an RV park. I'm butt up. My neighbors are literally, I'm looking right now, like maybe 15, 20 feet away from me. But you know what? The rich people's houses that I service, some of them are even closer together, right? They're just all in their houses all the time. My life's not easy though, but you know what? I feel like I'm eating shit right now. I've been eating shit for a long fucking time. And when I say that, it means that you're doing things that you don't normally would do, things that you don't like to do. You're out of your comfort zone. Boo fucking who, right? How embarrassing is it going to be when you lose everything? Or how much would it suck? I know a lot of people are going to be embarrassed because you're not following the first rule of the Up and In It show of practicing unfuckicism, about the alternative lifestyle design. Stop giving a fuck what other people think of you, right? Now, what do you think of you? Get out there and eat some shit. Learn to make it fun. I enjoy, most people, and the shows you guys probably listen to are bragging about how many millions of fucking dollars they made. I'm on to brag about the same pair of underwear I've been wearing. It's been washed, and I bought good underwear, right? And I've had the same underwear for like 3 years, some of them 4 years. I buy Dickies pants I got at the thrift store for a third or a quarter of the price it would cost to buy new. I've had these things for probably about 15 years. I'm scratching my knee right now, and I finally got a little hole in one of them. And I'm starting to run low on pants, by the way. I need to go to the thrift store. But you guys, I don't really see a lot of this as eating shit, because I go out to sushi, once a month. Maybe sometimes twice a month, but I take out my business associates, or clients, things like that. But it's not. I guess that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about eating shit. Some of the places you'll live and some of the things you'll have to do. Like me, I'm broadcasting. This is a perfect example. Broadcasting out of my pickup truck. It's hot right now. It's freezing cold outside and windy and rainy. I'm starting to sweat in here because I'm locked in my vehicle. It's very quiet. The seat's not the most comfortable. I've got to turn my head over to you guys. And I'm actually using my phone to record this podcast. I'm doing everything I can right now to save money, to utilize what I already have. You think it's fun to sit in here? Actually, it kind of is. I love my truck, but no, it's not the most comfortable. It's not a studio, right? I'm making do with what I fucking have. And that's what I'm looking at, guys. Most of you guys, especially if you're poor, you're going to have to fucking eat shit to make it out of here. Right? We're not all meant to sit here and act like we're fucking rich. Who gives a fuck about what we look like? It's about how we feel. It's about how we live. It's about what we do. It's the actions we take that we have inside of our minds and our hearts, and what we have as real people. Human up, right? That's what I always say at the end of the show. You got to human up to yourself, right? And stop fucking going after the glitter. Stop going after the prize, the proverbial apple, right? Because that's what it is. Remember we just said it's a veil. Money is a giant veil. We're going after, look at how much money I have. Who gives a fuck about money? It's what you own. And I didn't finish off with the rich there. I think what they do, earlier when I was saying how they're investing, right? They use assets. They don't really hold on to money. What if at the end of every year they just ditched almost all their money they can, right? Right at the end, they sold or purchased a whole bunch of more real estate, invested in tractors or whatever, spent out. So when it comes time for the IRS to go, hey, you made some money this year, and they says, well, shit, sorry, Uncle Sam, I invested almost all of it. I've got maybe $50,000 or $100,000, but all went investments. Check with me next year, and we'll see what the profits and losses are. That's what I kind of looked at there. I was like, that would be really smart. Scary part, though, is to get your assets converted to cash for, say, things like gas and groceries and things like that. But I think these people are very crafty. I don't understand it quite yet. But I think you're going to have to go down. You're going to have to live at like my level and even lower. Eat shit for a while so that you can gain freedom in your life, so you can save up enough money and invest in assets that'll make your life a lot easier. Pay off, get rid of all your debt, and if you are going to go in debt, do it right. Understand the language of money. Understand what this is, what inflation and how it works. Go better than what I'm doing it. Get out there and figure that shit out, because if you don't, you're always going to be trailing behind, and you are the carpet upon which they walk. We all are. I am right now too. I just got a little bit more freedom than the majority of people I know, almost all the people I know. I'm more versatile, but I eat shit, right? I eat shit and I like it. A lot of stuff I don't like, but I have the choice to change shit anytime I want, and it's becoming more and more every day. I can pick up and change my life within a fucking day. That feels good. That's the show. I'm sorry if I went a little too heavy on that, but that's my advice. I don't have more to say. I think I spit it all out for you guys. So, If I brought you any value, please give me a rating. Give me a 1 star, a 0 star. Give me a middle finger, thumbs up. For those of you watching, subscribe, or whatever all that fucking stuff is. I should start learning what to tell you guys to do. I don't know how these things work, but whatever it is, just dude, like the show. It helps the show out for me. It's here for free and will be for as long as I can afford to do this show, and I don't get bored because I do this mainly out of fun. So you guys, it's Up and In It. You guys can reach me at upandinitshow@gmail.com. Comment, leave some comments below. Let me know what you guys want to hear. Let me know how I'm doing for you. It's Up and In It. You guys can find this on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere where they'll let me blabber my mouth off. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.